You keep looking at the door, waiting for someone to walk through it. A mentor, a sign, a moment where everything just clicks. That door isn't opening. Nobody is coming. Not because you don't deserve help, but because the help you're waiting for was never going to arrive from outside. Think about how long you've been waiting. Waiting for the right time to start. Waiting until you feel confident enough. Waiting for permission that was never going to be granted, because nobody's job is to grant it. You tell yourself you're being patient, that you're preparing. But some of you aren't preparing. You're hiding. Preparation has an end date. Hiding doesn't. Hiding disguises itself as caution, as wisdom, as I'm just not ready yet. It will keep disguising itself for years if you let it, because waiting feels safe. It doesn't require you to fail in front of anyone. It doesn't require you to find out that the dream you've been protecting might not survive contact with reality. So you wait, and every day is coming. But look at every version of strength you've ever admired. Not the version at the end, standing victorious. The version at the beginning, weak, untrained, doubting everything about themselves. Nobody carried them there. They were handed obstacles, not solutions. And the only reason they're the one you admire now is that they decided, in the middle of that pain, to move anyway. Here's the lie. That readiness comes first, and action comes second. It's backwards. Readiness isn't something that arrives before you start. It's something you build by moving before you feel ready, by doing the thing scared, doing it uncertain. The people who made it didn't wait until they were ready. They redefined. Ready. They decided scared and moving forward could exist in the same body at the same time. There's a moment every single person who's ever changed their life had to go through. It doesn't look like inspiration. It looks like the floor. It's the moment you're done waiting for the universe to reward your patience. In that moment, the waiting stops being a strategy. It starts feeling like what it actually is. Surrender, wearing the costume of patience. This is the part they don't show you in the highlight reel. The part right before the transformation, where it isn't inspiring yet. It's just quiet and painful and lonely. But this is also the exact moment strength gets built, not in the victory. Here, on the ground, deciding whether to stay down or push yourself up one more time with no guarantee it'll be worth it. Every person who became who they were meant to be had this exact moment. The only difference between them and everyone else who quit right here is that they stood up anyway. Not because they were sure it would work, because they were done being someone who waited to find out. So here's what it actually means to save yourself. It's not one dramatic moment. It's 1,000 small refusals. Refusing to hit snooze on the life you say you want. Refusing to let one bad day convince you the whole plan was wrong. Refusing to wait for someone to validate a decision you already know is right. It's showing up on the days no one's watching. Training when there's no tournament. Getting back up when literally nothing in the moment tells you that you should. That's the whole secret. And it was never hidden. It was just unglamorous, slow, invisible for a long time. Because the moment you stop waiting to be saved and start acting like the person capable of saving yourself, everything shifts. You stop asking, why hasn't anyone helped me yet? And start asking, what am I going to do about it today? So stop looking at the door. Nobody's walking through it. The version of you that you've been waiting for isn't coming to find you. You have to become them. One decision, one rep, one uncomfortable choice at a time. No one is coming to save you. Good. That means nothing standing between you and the life you want is out of your hands. Get up. Move. Save yourself. Because the moment you stop waiting to be saved, start acting like the person capable of saving yourself. Everything shifts. You stop asking, "Why hasn't anyone helped me yet?" and start asking, "What am I going to do about it today?" Everything you built is gone. The plan, the identity, the version of your life you were counting on. And now you're standing in what's left of it, being asked to start over. Like starting over is simple. Like it doesn't cost anything. Like you can just dust yourself off, smile for the camera, and move on to the next chapter. But you know better. You're standing in it right now. And it doesn't feel like a new chapter. It feels like standing in the ashes of the last one, wondering if you have anything left to build with. Nobody warns you about the weight of it. They talk about starting over like it's a clean slate, a fresh page, exciting even. They don't mention the grief, because that's what it is. Grief. You're not just losing a plan, you're losing the person you were building toward. The future self you'd already started to picture, already started to become a little in your head. And now you have to let that version of you die before you can even begin building the next one. That's the part that actually hurts. Not the practical stuff, the logistics, the paperwork, the explaining it to people. It's the quiet private funeral you have to hold for a future that isn't happening anymore. And you're expected to do it fast. Get back up. Move on. Stay positive. As if grief has a deadline. It doesn't. You're allowed to sit in the wreckage for a while. You're allowed to not have an answer yet for what comes next. The only thing that actually matters is that you don't mistake this pause for the ending. It's not the ending. It's just the part before the next beginning. And that part is allowed to take time. So let's say the thing nobody says out loud. It's allowed to hurt for as long as it hurts. Starting over doesn't mean starting over instantly. It means being willing to eventually start, not being unaffected by the fall. Here's the thought that keeps people stuck longer than the loss itself. I wasted years on this. That thought feels true. It feels like the whole point. But it's a lie, built out of pain, not out of fact. Nothing you built was wasted. Not the discipline you developed getting there. Not the version of yourself who learned to work hard, show up, endure difficulty. Not the mistakes that taught you exactly what doesn't work. Information you now carry into everything you build next. There's a particular kind of disorientation that comes with losing the thing you built your identity around. For a while, you don't know who you are without it. You catch yourself reaching for the old title, the old role, the old way of introducing yourself, and it doesn't fit anymore. That gap between who you used to say you were and who you are now is uncomfortable to sit in. Most people rush to fill it. They grab the first new label available just to stop the discomfort of not having one. Don't rush that part. The gap is uncomfortable, but it's also honest. It's the one moment in your life where you're not performing an identity. You're just a person, standing in the open, figuring out what actually matters to you before you decide what to build next. That's rare. Most people never get forced into that kind of honesty. You did. Use it. The path changed. The destination is gone. But you are not the same person who started that path. You're stronger than that person. Sharper. More aware of what actually matters. That's not waste. That's raw material. The only way it becomes waste is if you refuse to use it, if you let the grief convince you that none of it counted, and let that lie keep you sitting in the ashes longer than you need to. Think about the version of you from before all this. Would they have been able to handle what you just went through? Probably not. Not with the tools they had back then. But you did handle it. You're handling it right now, even in this moment of not knowing what's next. That's not nothing. That's proof. Proof of a version of you that didn't exist before this fell apart. The hardest part of starting over isn't the work. It's the not knowing where to start. Last time, you had momentum, direction, something to push against. Now there's just open space. And open space is terrifying because it means every choice is yours again with no guarantee any of them are right. So here's the truth that makes it possible. You don't have to see the whole path to take the first step. You only have to know the next one. That's how everyone who's ever rebuilt anything actually did it. Not with a perfect plan, with the next step, followed by another next step, followed by another, until eventually those small steps added up to a completely new direction, one they couldn't have mapped out in advance even if they'd tried. Stop trying to see the whole staircase. You only need to see the first stair. And the first stair is smaller than you think. It's not to figure out your entire future. It's do one thing today that